And welcome back to the program. Good morning. It's 9 minutes past 7 a.m. on this brilliant Wednesday morning. It's the 20th day, of course, of November 2024. My name is Victor Lowe. Welcome. Today being the Viewpoint, we'll talk about so many things happening in the country. We are closing or coming to the end of the second year of the Kenya Kwanza administration, technically so. And tomorrow the president will be addressing the nation as per the constitution that he must address the nation. Both Parliament, that is the National Assembly, and the Senate, at least once a year, and that will be happening tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. That one comes at the backdrop of the happening at State House yesterday, where different PSs and other leaders also signed their performance contract for the coming year. And so we want to take a look at that's really what happened. And the president also gave that warning that, you know, if you don't deliver, then you know what will happen. All right, so that is how it's going to be for the next 1 hour and 20 minutes of a great discussion. I have four great men, and I'm privileged that I've had them here for the last 1 year, so it's always good to take stock of basically what we've talked about. Gentlemen, it's more of an examination, taking stock and a cut of what has happened through the 1 year that we've been here. First of all, I have to appreciate your presence. Let me start with Dr. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Mapambano, we saw you on television, so you can you also go on the streets. We didn't know. I mean, what you can in the streets?
Victor, you know, in this country, there are those who fight for freedom and who fought for our freedom in this country. And it is your responsibility to protect your rights.
Which
and
right
protect the rights of others.
Which one are you fighting for?
Labor rights. Labor rights.
Who is infringing your rights?
Of course, you know, it's the employer.
What's
and
happening?
all public universities, the employer is the government, agency, the Ministry of Education. And we were out there basically to air grievances and remind the nation that we have not been, our issues have not been addressed. We have been actually out there for the last, this is the fourth week, for the last 3 weeks. And when we thought it's a reminder that we are out there, students are not learning, universities are not, there's no work going on at the moment. Teaching and learning stopped, ground to a halt 3 weeks ago. And we want to tell the government that act quickly, so that we can protect the nation and prepare.
We'll get more into that.
Prepare
it's
for
actually
the future.
Also on the front page of the Standard. Captured, things fall apart. We'll be taking a look at that in details. Deputy Governor of Machakos County, thank you so much for joining us, Mheshimiwa. How are our neighbors across the other side of the county?
Struggling like another Kenyan.
What did you say?
Struggling like just another Kenyan.
Okay, you'll tell us what's happening down there. Daniel Orogo is also with us here. Daniel Orogo is a political and a governance commentator. Gentlemen, asante sana for coming to the show. And Wilson Sosion, who is a former NAT Secretary General and nominated Member of Parliament, also on set. Let me start with you. DG, so we are here, and you said that everybody is struggling. Let me start with with the front page of the Standard newspaper. Things fall apart. That is what's on the front page of the Standard. Things fall apart. Standard has actually highlighted three main things that it thinks is a problem. There's a county cash crisis. It says that Treasury rules out extra 20 billion shillings as governors threaten shutdown in 30 days. Again, there is university stalemate affecting new daktari. Lecturer strike hits learning amid for over new funding model. And finally, healthcare mess that is between the chief and SHA. The teething problems persist a month after rollout. And now, just over 2 years into the tenure, President William Ruto is also confronted with the major crisis affecting key sectors, with the 47 counties also threatening to shut down the operation, citing a cash crunch. Critical sectors of education and healthcare are also in limbo following an ending lecturer strike that has paralyzed learning in public universities, as well as the chaos in the new social health authority that has left patients stranded in hospitals. Ruto reads the Riot Act to his ministers and PSS. That happened yesterday during his remarks during the signing of performing contracts by cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, and senior government officials yesterday at State House. DG, you have been given money by the Treasury. John Mbadi said there is money disbursed.
Let me not dispute what the good minister is saying. But I told you the other day, old women in my village are calling this new government bread-based. And once you hear that kind of an announcement, you are likely to wait for more than a month.
Yes.
Or sometimes even almost 2 months for that money to eat at the in the accounts of respective governments. So we are happy for the announcement, but we haven't seen any penny. The announcement is one, the implementation is another process altogether.
So we are looking at minimum of 2 months? Maximum 2, minimum 1?
It could be weeks, or if the government wants, it can be days. Yes. But according to the history of the current administration, the problem is believing what they say.
Yeah.
Even those who are bishops and are serving in this government, I can tell you, Kenyans, until something happens, very few can believe. And that has been a challenge from the top down top, from across. I can tell you from where I sit, we have attended so many meetings to support what I'm saying. And we have gotten assurances that within the first 3 to 6 months, we will have transferred all the functions that are due to counties, plus the resources that accompany all that. Years down the line, we are waiting. We have sat and agreed on specifics, and I can tell you it remains where we were just discussing. This is also being raised by the church in this country, that please address the issues touching on your pronouncements. You don't govern through lies and promises everywhere, promising everywhere. You know, it's not good. And that's why when we were reviewing 1 year of leadership after the last election, I said here, once you see politicians who are elected the other day, and now they are on top of their vehicles, talking to wananchi, moving from one place to another, expect not much. Another year down the line, I'm either being proved right or wrong, depending on you. Because if you are asking those who are on the side of bread-based, they can't understand what Kenyans are going through. Yeah.
Dan, we are here. 1 year down the line, DG sounds so disappointed.
And so are the opinions of so many Kenyans who are feeling that the state is not addressing the needs of the people. So I was in a different platform, and I belabored very painfully, asking for the reality, what the state is saying vis-a-vis what is really being committed to the ground. One, not the first time we had a deadlock between the national government and the county government. It's been a history of struggles and conflicts. From way back when there was a transition authority that was in charge of trying to transfer the power from the central government to devolved units. I think the governors accused the national government of not transferring many of these privileges, many of these duties, but even the resources, as DG has said. It's quite difficult to understand who is telling the truth unless we have at a vintage point of whether verifying if the minister is indeed saying the truth, because the media also highlighted that money is lying unused in different accounts. And there are a number of counties that were mentioned, Siaya, Kisii, whatever. And probably that is the story of any other county. So Kenyans on one hand are asking, why then do the governors threaten to down their tools? Yet, on the other hand, the Treasury has even highlighted that even in the process of waiting for the transfer, or even that has issued a transfer of that money, there are other money that still lies on the county government accounts, unused and unutilized. So I think Kenyans are at a point where, then where is the truth coming from? And I think apart from that, each and every year, we have a state of devolution report that Kenyans are read to the progress of the report. And I think the Council of Governors has been taking Kenyans, seriously by issuing the progress of each and every achievements or milestone that are marked with regards to progress in devolved system government. Kenyans equally attend these and also follow the conferences to hear and be updated yearly of what the progress we've had. So generally agree among the citizenry is the fact that devolution has created a lot of changes, especially within the major rural parts of this country. On the other hand, we also want some truth from these county chiefs in terms of telling Kenyans exactly the state of the devolved system of government. So I think the divide and the variance between government, the central government, and the devolved system of government are actually creating a loop here where Kenyans are a little bit of confused what's going on right now within both the national government and the devolved system.
And the big question is the 20 billion shillings in question. Did you tell us about that? Is 380, 400 billion shillings equitable share? And that is one of the biggest issue. Mwalimu Sosion, the president is also to deliver a State of the Nation address tomorrow to outline some of the administration successes and plans as we move into the third year. And the issue of the crisis, the cash, university stalemate, students and healthcare, etc., etc. Here we are. Let me get your opinion.
Yes, the president will be giving the State of the Nation address as the requirement of the Constitution. Will be delivering the report on the national security status and will present such a report to the National Assembly. Will be giving an account of international obligations and engagements of the government of Kenya. It will also be giving report on the state of the economy and the general administration and governance of the country. And of course, you're talking about things like SHA. It's a key pillar of this administration. It was an item of campaign, and it is a must-deliver pillar, which is now at the second month of rollout, with, of course, challenges therein. And it is my belief that now where it has reached, the rollout of UHC should really be fully seized by county governments and supervised by county government, and it's ensure that it works in close and total consultation with the national government, because these are not just mere programs for the sake of political expediency. It's about health care of every citizen of this country, and it is a must-deliver item. That is a major social service that is critical to the state, which affects every household, the health care. The other one is education. There are two social services that are critical to stability of any government. Health and education. And the issues that have gone on, the milestones in the education sector and the challenges in the education sector must also, I'm sure the president will be able to deal with them head on. And my brother here, we started with solidarity. if our lecturers are out in the streets, it is not something that is pleasant to the country, and it's not pleasant to anyone. And I'm sure it is not even pleasant to the president himself, and he would like to see this matter resolved. And our universities have been riddled in financial turmoil, which dates back to a number of years. And to bring it back to rail is not going to be easy. The funding model will have to work for 3, 4, 5 years to bring it back to rail. We've seen Moi University almost crumbling to nothingness after being a massive university with huge investments and a fast-growing second university in Kenya of science and technology. We are seeing issues with it. These are things that I am sure the president will address himself to in terms of recalibrating education to work and to deliver equitable quality education to all, including a curriculum. I don't know where it was brought and what it was meant to achieve in this country, and it really was foreign prescribed, and it's a more low value education system compared to what we've had, the CBC curriculum, which the president also and the government is trying to rework on it so that we have an education model that speaks to the goals of the nation and the interest of technology and innovation of the country. So I'm sure the president has a lot. Last week, the Catholic bishops gave a public statement and raised issues of concern that they feel should be handled and should be addressed by the government, which, okay, was legitimate. And I think that letter of the bishops, the president has welcomed, and you saw the president at Tangaza University at consecration of the Archbishop of Embu Diocese and in a Catholic church on Sunday. And that's a demonstration that he's willing to listen and to accommodate views of other parties. And therefore, the letter from the bishop and the church leaders in general, the issues of concern within the country, I'm sure the president will give a blow-by-blow account in his responsibility as head of state tomorrow. So tomorrow's president's State of the Nation address is quite historic because it's coming at a time when there are many questions.
You've given a very
feelings. I hope we find time to discuss the State of the Nation.
Of course, there's a reason why.
Yeah, but I've outlined what will happen.
There's a reason why. You've given a very soft kind of approach, not tackling. Of course, that is okay on what is there. But, Dr. Action and word are two different things.
Correct.
And this is where now the problem is, with even the Catholic bishop said last week that, hey, we have everything here, but we want to see the action. 2 years down the line, the only thing that is missing is the action. We've heard the words.
Yes.
So what will change even in the State of the Nation address tomorrow?
Victor, I think the outline given by Honorable Sossion is good. What we're lacking actually is action. And administration, when we teach basic administration 101, we say that administration is the action part of government.
Yeah.
And that is what makes a difference within the country, on the public. You know, there must be action. Word is one thing. And you know, Kenyans were good in making very good policies, very good programs, but implementation has always been our challenge. And it's good that you're asking the question, what will be the action? For example, we're talking about education. Of course, he has to address health, he has to address poverty, security, and all those issues. We know what is actually ailing the country. We know that education is on its deathbed. We have serious issues in education, from financing basic education, transitioning of the junior secondary. We have universities that are out. There's a lot that is going on, that there's no proper learning. When we come to quality education and universal access, which Mheshimiwa Session has mentioned, Are we having quality education? For me, that is the issue. And how is government addressing the issue of quality education? Access, we have had access, everyone has to go. And in fact, even access is questionable. When we introduced, or government introduced the new funding model, 78,000 students were not able, I might be wrong in terms of numbers, but a huge number of students were not able to join university. Reason, they cannot afford it. Are we really serious about dealing with these issues that have been, you know, a part of our key agenda since independence? Fighting poverty, disease, ignorance. And this is education, health, and poverty reduction, the economy. How is heavy taxation...
And devolution. I want to...
Yes, devolution also comes in, so that actually we can achieve this. This is government. It is at the county level and the national level. But I'm talking generally actions that are being taken in order to create change. Are we really changing? So when we look at heavy taxation, is heavy taxation reducing poverty or increasing it? The church said the other day, the bishop said, poverty is a problem. High cost of living is a problem. Inflation is a problem. People are suffering. We feel it. If I give you an example of universities, or workers generally in this country. End of last month, we were taxed 2.75, additional 2.75 of our gross income to go to SHA. What does that mean? Reduce the capacity to purchase. I mean, I can't understand, I'm not an economist. How do you grow an economy? How do you reduce poverty when actually you are taking away and actually reducing the purchasing power of the citizen? I don't think it will augur well for our country in the future. Something else has to be done. I think newer economic models have to evolve so that we're able to address these issues significantly.
Let's take a quick break. I'm reminded that you have students with you on set, Dr.
Students on?
Yeah, you're a student. You have a student on set.
I'm sure he never taught me.
No. If he came in the evening, I would have taught him. But he didn't come.
I have indicated that I'm very careful today because I could be in an examination.
You have a student here, so marking in progress. Very good. I'm also sure did online classes.
No, he didn't come.
No, it's continuing education.
Lifelong learning.
Yes, and I've been in that place.
All right, now welcome back. So we are now getting into it straight. It's going to be a hard one for me. I don't know how I'm going to handle it, but may God give me the grace. Amen. I know why. So we are here at a situation, DG, you said that there is nothing come out of it. Let's tackle this from a solution point of view. We've had 1 year. Performance contracting was signed yesterday at State House. Different, government officials signed. But let's tackle this from a solution point of view. What do you think should be the way, if possible, that the drafters of the president's speech tomorrow should include in that speech that will easily resonate with the common mwananchi, with the specific actions, as you've said, words and action must go hand in hand? Where do we start?
Victor, I think the panelists have been very careful on their words, because what we are discussing is so grave to this country that and when we are discussing that topic, we are discussing the presidency, and we know the presidency in Kenya is symbol of unity.
Yes.
It represents all of us. And even when they are wrong, as we try to correct them, we must not demean that particular office, because any of us tomorrow could be in that occupier of that office, and we want that office to remain as the symbol of unity as much as possible.
Yeah.
Whether those who are there behave as such or not is a different thing altogether. Now, the drafters of that speech, and I have a problem again. Even if I say what I have in my mind, I'm wondering, after the president has spoken, who will believe? Okay, but that notwithstanding, it is not me. It is out there. There's a problem in terms of trust. This is not. It's a serious matter. But tomorrow, I think those who are handling that, I think it is respective ministries and the departments. I think first and foremost, start with the unity of the country.
Yeah.
What can unite this country from where we are? The country is divided, and divided, more divided than any time in history. One, this is the single most government that is collecting so much resources in terms of revenue, because they are taxing each and everything. What is remaining is now oxygen, and I'm sure very soon we will go there. And Kenyans are not feeling where this money is going. Okay? I'm sure tomorrow Kenyans will be keen to hear from their president. There is this forced disappearance. People being abducted, some killed, some have never been seen. It is a major thing. That will go beyond this government's time.
Yeah.
Kenyans will also be waiting to hear the status of the devolution. Kenyans voted for a constitution that the president sought to protect. But the administration is killing devolution in Kenya. I can tell you for a fact. For any country to develop, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, that India was not going to be classified as developed as a result of how many industrial cities they come up with, but how many villages are going to be transformed. Currently, the national government is doing literally everything that the counties are supposed to do. Go to Minister of Roads. All those roads which are supposed to be done by the counties, they are being implemented from Nairobi. And selectively, not everywhere across the country, selectively. Agriculture is fully devolved, save for policies. Look at the Minister of Agriculture's budget. It is being increased. Hence, the kind of scandals we are seeing as a result of selling fake fertilizers, threatening food security in this country, which affects again the unity of the country and the security of the country. Look at the Minister of Health. The fact that it was a must done to have universal health care in Kenya did not mean the national government to implement that policy at the national level. It meant they bring governors together and see the best way to implement, because as per the constitution, this is a devolved function. No country on earth, and I challenge the good professor and the widely traveled colleagues here in this panel to tell me any particular single country on earth that has developed as a result of centralism. You must, at any given time, go decentralization. Even petrostates, they have some form of decentralization. What in Kenya we are calling devolution. And by the way, Victor, I'm not speaking the way I'm speaking because I'm a deputy governor in a certain county. That has got nothing to do, and I will speak the same even if I were not the deputy governor, because that is the way to go. Kenyans will also be expecting. There are issues here which are being raised by the church, which is the concern of each one of us. High cost of living as a result of a high taxation regime. How are we going to do? We are seeing majority of the people who are paying these taxes are business persons. Majority of the people who are paying for these taxes are people who are working. Now, when you are increasing taxes and you are not increasing their salaries, what are you telling them? You are pushing millions to poverty. And that is why I am telling you, it is not, we used to hear lecturers at the university, we used to admire them. I'm almost at the same level. And then you want to attain your PhD and go elsewhere to do other things. Why? You look at the persons in front of you and you wonder, is he or she being paid, or what is it? Or they are doing a charity work. No country will ever grow without putting at the center the issue touching on the quality education. And that is what President Kibaki started. Free primary education, then we are going to secondary, then university education. So in this, those are some of the issues. Tomorrow, there are some. I've spoke because of we have colleagues. Yeah. I've just lighted less than a quarter of what Kenyans are expecting. But with all that, Victor,
yes,
the biggest problem is to believe anything that is being said by anybody in Kenya Kwanza.
You sit in the Deputy Governors Forum. Is it Forum or Council?
Yes, is it? I'm the whip. Yes. Of the Deputy Governors Forum.
Great.
Yes.
IBEC, I am so sure there are a number of issues you've raised. I'll come back to that. Yes. Whether certain pointers you've raised affecting the counties are being implemented.
But there are some things they have achieved.
Great. I'll come back to that. Dr. Listening to what the DG is talking about, you'll start to wonder whether everything is stalling. But at the end of the day, we need to have hope, because that's the only way out.
Hope is important, and in fact, is the basis of our living. People who have no hope, I'm telling you, will be very difficult. It will be very difficult to manage and be able also to deal with. Now, government has to give people hope. And whatever we have...
allow me to break the rule and do this for you.
Okay,
this is completely...
It's tight.
Yeah.
That's why it's okay.
I just continue.
Now, what I want to say, and I echo what DG has said,
yes,
is that we can't develop our country without hope. Without that hope, in education, in the economy, in the workplace, in agriculture, in security, because we have seen that we have challenges, in security challenges in our country. It has been mentioned, and it's obvious. The bishop said about it. Abductions, no explanations are given, and I would think government should start to explain, because the basic purpose of government is to ensure people's safety and security, and the security also of their property. That is very critical.
Yeah.
Now, the issue of quality education. If we do not provide quality education, honestly, we're wasting time. We're left behind. I shed tears for Africa, because everywhere globally Africa is seen as lagging behind, the continent of the future. Why not the continent of now? Continent of the future and all these things, because of our education systems, because of how much we invest in our education.
Yeah.
And quality education for that matter. How do we deliver? We can't deliver quality education at any level if government does not look at the trainers, the teachers, the lecturers. They must be properly remunerated. DG is talking about when he sees me, not the way I am today, but he does not admire to be a lecturer. He does not admire to be anything close to what we are, because there is poverty increasing. And if you want, just walk into any university and see the deterioration of the facilities themselves and the people. Because actually the people are the greatest asset for any government. Is the greatest asset. If you don't take care of the people, pay them well, give them good working conditions, then they cannot deliver. Another thing I wanted to say, because the quality education will affect work and delivery, it will also affect life, how people live in that country. It also affects sustainable development. People must be educated, given the right education, adopt, have new perspectives or the right perspective and principles and values. Then you come to hope and truthfulness. All these issues are interconnected to be able to deliver a system that works for the future of this country. We can talk about our country every day, but if we do not pay attention to these things, it will not help. Look at our universities. Look at Moi University, for example, right now. The corruption also that is now in the universities. The external interference of the running of universities in this country is phenomenal. And I think government knows we have security agencies. They will tell you. Some of the agencies like anti-corruption recently pointed out at the University of Nairobi that there is someone in the University of Nairobi who does not have papers and is working at the top as a top decision maker. Yet the university has not done anything. The university management has done nothing. More university, you have seen what has happened. I hope when the president is going, His Excellency the President is going to address the nation, I think he should come up with solutions. I think he should crack the whip.
And that is why
he should crack the whip.
And that's why the show is solution-based.
Yeah, that's why we're saying,
right,
when he speaks, let him tell us how is he going to deal with our industrial action at universities and end them and pay well. We are only asking for between 7 and 10% increment. That's a peanut. When taxation within the last 5 years has gone beyond 10%. So it's kind of just a compensation. And out of that, again, they will be taxed. That will be taxed. So I guess that the president should come up with a solution and say, okay, this is what, and that is what we expect, because he's the father of the nation.
Yeah.
He's the father of the nation. He should provide solutions, but I'm sure the drafters of the address, as DG was saying, their interest is like they think they are under siege to lie to us, to tell us they have done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But with what impact? We feel the impact of state action. We should be, if it's insecurity and the insecurity continues, abductions continue, then what are you really saying? We are out there asking for proper remuneration for universities, and we are not yet out of the streets for almost a whole month. What are you really telling us?
Okay.
We must have serious concern and make decisions.
Serious concerns.
Yeah.
So, Sion, when you look at the whole of this scenario, 2 years down the line, the two gentlemen have spoken about, the drafters of that speech, what Dr. is saying, that under siege, right? Solution-based.
I would like to dismiss the negative perception and prejudicial placement of the president's speech as being drafted to evade certain things. That is not right. One thing we must appreciate as a country, that is not right. No, I'm saying it is not right to do so until the report is presented. And the Constitution is very clear on what premises do you present this report. It is not a village report. It is a report that is presented within the framework of the Constitution, national security, international relations, and the state of the economic political situation in the country. That one, it's very clear. And you are not going to cook data. That is very strange to Kenyans. And we are a democratic country. A democratic country that runs democratic governance, where people enjoy their freedom through the Constitution, and there is freedom of speech, and Kenyans have spoken. And to me, from where I sit, the concerns of Kenyans are good enough for government to respond to, and I'm sure that is what the president will be speaking to. So it is wrong to say, oh, those people who are drafting the speech will draft it wrongly. It is not the drafters. The speech is the president's own speech, and he will oversee himself the proper drafting of the speech. He will direct the content of the speech. He will present it himself to the National Assembly. And once presented to the National Assembly, as per the constitutional requirement, there will be 4 consecutive sessions at the National Assembly to debate the president's speech. And the power donated by the people of Kenya to the National Assembly, to Parliament rather, both Senate and the National Assembly will be exercised by debating that particular speech. And there's nothing to hide in Kenya. If there are issues in education, it did not start yesterday. They have been there. And in fact, the President's Charter that is signed on 23rd June 2022 speak to these challenges. And these challenges are not yet over. Some of the glaring corruption scandals that we are seeing, like individuals being in office with fake papers, I think it's a shame to this country. It was not created by this government. They've been created by the systems that have existed over time. And we must accept that they be overhauled. With respect to the pay for lecturers, it did not start today. In the charter that we were negotiating, the President appreciated that education sector workers, particularly university lecturers, have gone through a lot of suffering because of poor funding of universities. And that is why the funding of universities has been enhanced from 54 billion to 84 billion. But then the model of channeling money to the universities is what is being worked on through the funding model, because eventually the money will get to the accounts of universities and breathe life to the universities. But this cannot be done. But this cannot be done, Victor. This cannot be done, Victor.
Education can wait.
This cannot be done, Victor. This cannot be done, Victor.
The question
People
is
cannot
when.
create smoke screen in institutions where there are challenges and shift it to somebody in the government. No, we must deal with the rot. The rot is at the university.
It has to be shifted to somebody in the government, because that is where systems are.
If, for example, over time,
Mheshimiwa Asuncion, on the front page of the Standard newspaper, to be fair to the students, learners stare at bleak future as strike rages on. Education, some of them are going to go first years.
Let me talk about it. Let me talk about that. The strike has been on for 3 weeks. It's common knowledge. It's public knowledge.
Yes.
Don't think the government has been sleeping. Don't even think the president has been sleeping. Where do you think the commitment of 4.3 billion shillings to finance the lecturers' pay has come from? It definitely has been approved by the president. So there has been deliberate efforts to unlock the statement.
I think Mheshimiwa Asuncion is on his own. He's talking
I will have to ask
fundamentally, Victor, there are challenges. Okay. Whether it's in education, whether it's in health, whether it's in governance. Give me light of.
You know, our action is what we are looking for.
Our criticism. We don't need to preempt the president's speech. Let's wait for the speech.
Okay.
Kenyans have raised.
I want to ask.
But we can
give his.
We're Kenyan.
We cannot really fully donate our freedom of criticism.
Who is not a Kenyan?
To the members of parliament and wait for a report, first of all, to be presented and provide a critique about it. Like I keep on saying, yes, the constitution is so robust about how we delegate our power, that we can do that indirectly through representative democracy, and that is why we elected our people. Or we as a citizens of Republic of Kenya, in any platform we find, we can provide our criticism to the government. That gives us an authority to criticize what the government does constructively. So I think we can't say that we wait. We know exactly the background to which the State of the Nation address is coming. We are quite aware. And some of them, DG has mentioned, Asuncion has mentioned, and Dr. has mentioned. We are quite aware of the fact that the government, and led by the president, mandated under Article 132(1) of the Constitution, will be mandated to provide a report on the state of the national values. Do we know the state of the national values, even as we speak? Does that have to wait after the report? We know that the Catholic that has been diplomatically handling the government issues and bridging the gap between the government and the people, has criticized and has shown that we are replacing our national values with vices, right? And it's on public domain. The state of the nation is that there is corruption, right? Within the state agencies, within the ministries, and everywhere. There's reports about corruption in government, in public service. Victor, could you be reminded that in the year 2015, when President Uhuru Kenyatta had the opportunity to deliver the State of National Address, he fired cabinet ministers in the State of National Address. You heard Kazungu Kambi had to go, Felix Kosgei had to go in 2015. So he didn't wait until he's done with the report. he actually acted on a report that was submitted to him by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So he didn't wait until investigation. He understands that the buck stopped with me as the President of the Republic of Kenya. That we cannot be lamenting nation every time that a number of people has been implicated in corruption, and we sing about it. He took the authority to do that. So what is different from this government? We have, and I'm quite aware that the president is being briefed every morning. I mean, he's privileged to be briefed on the state of security. He's privileged to be briefed on every hour. That he knows that a number of senior public servants has been quoted and has been mentioned in corrupt cases. What are we doing about it? Second. Now, it is also coming on a backdrop where we are questioning the state of security. And in the state of security does not only end in physical security. What other measures of security that we feel there is a semblance of insecurity in this country? Right? Like Daktari has mentioned and DG has mentioned and Sosyon has mentioned. Are we quite aware that there have been abductions and disappearances of people who are providing alternative views to the country? That is true. It is not something we are concocting on the platform. What will the president mention about it? I think there has been a consistent denial that there is no existence of abduction. If in essence, there have been an abduction. So I am fully just providing a scope and a lens where me seated tomorrow, I am quite hopeful that these are the issues that the president is going to address. That what is the issue about police brutality and abduction? What is the issues of the state of cohesion in this country? And there have been an important issues of co-option, which to some extent give the devil his view, because we are seated here to provide a constructive criticism. After the process, the government made some measures to reach out to the opposition. But that doesn't mean muzzling the alternative voices. That people has to question even the function, even those who are co-opted in the government, as cabinet secretaries, needs to give us a report on their ministry. So I think this hullabaloo about, you know, we are not going to wait. I mean, the waning public trust for the first time in this country. When you mention Kenyans and the opinion polls are giving, sometimes I think we criticize opinion polls in this set, whether they are factual or not. But I think it is closer to scientific to say a sense that views of Kenyans are scoring the government below average and consistently doing so. So what does that say about the state of cohesion that we have, the state of understanding this government? So like DG has said, one of the issues I keep on hammering on every platform, that the government needs to find a way of communicating to voters. It is not something that is rocket science. And that find a way of communicating the agenda to voters without criticizing those who are giving you alternative views.
Do you think, DG, do you think there should be a better way, apart from communication, that the voter is going to have a different mindset that, okay, I can see there is some light at the end of the tunnel, so that we start running away from this issue of lies, no hope, and all that? And the president is aware.
Change strategy and apply Kibaki Kalonzo's strategy of
keeping quiet.
Not keeping quiet, Honorable Sosyon. I'm not talking about keeping quiet. We see action more, speak less. We see less of politics, we see action more. Okay? This government has a lot of resources, but people are just busy enriching themselves. I can tell you for free. And that is why it is very hard for anybody in Kenya Kwanza to talk about corruption. In fact, 3 of the panelists here, each one of us have talked about corruption more than 4 times. Sosyon has not even spoken about it. Has not mentioned that word. There's a problem
Don't speak
in Kenya Kwanza. I'm saying what we have done so far. He has not, that word corruption does not exist in under Kenya Kwanza. Now, in this paper, let me read one of the sub-headlines. Poverty, unemployment, turn youths into thieves. It's not me. It has been placed in front of me. Now, what this means is I'm sure Kenyans tomorrow will be listening to hear from their leader what is it that the government is going to do. And again, the problem is who will believe him. who will believe Kenya Kwanza? It is them who have put themselves into that. And the issue, by the way, could be partly communication or could be also maybe a problem of their own making. Because when you go in Western Kenya, you tell them we are going to revive sugar subsector, which used to employ millions.
But now it's almost
then you get away, you run away until you come again. You tell them, tunaendelea kupanga, tunaendelea kupanga, give us time. Then you fly to Mombasa, blue economy, I don't know what. Then you fly in central Kenya, you tell them this, but instead of seeing that, they see their son being chased out of the government. Now, you see, I think tomorrow, those who are drafting, I think we might need maybe, I don't know. Now, look, we are a country that is believed to be practicing democracy.
Yes.
A country that relates with other nations. We are on record telling the world we have an agreement with Canada to export workers from Kenya. We are on record telling the world we have a deal with Germans to take. Now, sincerely, there's a problem. And then it becomes worse when...
There's a problem. The problem is it's already 8 and I want to take a break.
Why don't you allow me to execute my...
I'll come back with that promise. I promise.
You're lamenting in bitterness.
I can feel your... Let's take a break. I'm coming back straight to you.
Should it satisfy you as well?
Let's take a break. And welcome back. So, DG, you have a minute to execute your point.
So, in terms of how Kenya relates to the other countries, still, once again, I was citing Canada, Germany, who at some point we were told there is an agreement to export people, labor to these countries, only for them to clarify that was not the position. So what I'm saying, the issue, and I want when we speak, we cite real examples that our viewers can remember. Okay? Now, there is that initiative to take our people, I don't know where. And you know, my problem once again with Kenya Kwanza is the person spearheading that kind of a thing. One time when he was a governor of Machakos, he disappeared for almost a month. When he came, he said, no, I've been looking for jobs for the young ones unemployed in Machakos. In Dubai. 2,000 of them. Did we see even a single one going out there? The answer is a very big no. So I think Kenyans are expecting a lot, but the problem again is who to believe. The other thing is, I want to comment the administration, the ODM and the KK administration, once again, what our people are calling bread-based, for announcing positions of peers. I think the time has come, as a country, we ask ourselves, who are the accounting officers? Do they represent the regional balance as it is dictated legally in our statutes? So I think there is a lot that in the name. But as I finish, Victor, the issue of devolution, I want to go on record saying that we need, what remains at national level is what is supposed to be going to counties. Currently, when you compare what Kenya Kwanza is giving counties is around 9%, as opposed to what is dictated at least 15%. And I think that is very unfair. We should be having the 9% remaining at the national level because there is nothing much to be done at national level. And finally, church has raised some issues. Kenyans would want to hear, Kenya being a country that is classified as a democracy once again, which sticks to the rule of law. I think it is Lord Acton who said, power tends to corrupt, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. When the church raises a single statement, you don't have to mobilize your people everywhere to respond to a church and start abusing them. I think this is uncalled for. We need to behave. We need to be called to order. And Kenya Kwanza, as part of what President will present tomorrow, should tell Kenyans that this will never be repeated again. These are not politicians. These are religious leaders who interact with the people from almost 24 hours a day. They know what they are saying. It is a reality of what is happening.
Thank you.
Yes. Dan. But also, I've remembered this point. When it comes to security, you do not have, whenever a young one speaks, you just murder, you abduct. That is not the country we are longing for. That is not the country we want. We want to develop our young ones so that they become responsible citizens, not killing them.
Great.
Yeah.
Dan, you sit there tomorrow watching, and then moving forward, after moving forward the next 1 year, let's speak now with a solution at this side, because DG speaks about who is going to trust. And you see, the issue of trust is very important in this. And I believe the president is quite aware of that, and something that can be done and decisively. Your solution to all this?
Well, I think in line with what I spoke about what is outlined in the State of the Nation address.
Yes.
Because I hope that
with the specific again to what the church raised.
Well, I think for the first time, like I've said, and a little bit of balanced observation.
Right.
And of course, I'll say this in differently again, that when we provide our criticism about certain things, I think then we should be offering solutions. And not the first time that the church, in specific, or religion as an institution, has been proposing some solutions to government. And because of time, probably we don't want to take a lot of time. Given the context of what the Catholic, especially the Catholic Church does in the communities, in the societies, I think the observation would have been that even as we provide a stinging critics to the government, the solution would be so and so.
Yes.
I think for the first time that missed on their press statement. But again, you've asked me about the solution. On the state of national security, I would advise the Kenya Kwanza administration to restore their public trust by giving an account that these are the number of people who were reported abducted, but in essence, that they have been found and have been reintegrated back to their communities.
Yeah.
That then would begin to restore, and that would make Kenyans a little bit understand that indeed something was said, something is done by the government. And if anyone cared to watch and advise the president, so on the state of our national values and principles of governance, I am hopeful that when it comes to integrity, when it comes to public service and ethics, then it could be important for the head of state, who the buck stopped with, to indicate that indeed certain cases of corruption have been mentioned to me and has been brought forward to my desk through the relevant agencies of government. For example, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Director of Public Prosecution, and so has been prosecuted or is in line to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
And apart from that, that we have acquired properties and returned it back to public. So the moment the head of state, as a figure of national unity, strike a semblance of someone who acts as opposed to speaking throughout and doing nothing, as my colleague has mentioned, then indeed people would begin to listen. People would begin to have some semblance of trust. in the State of National Address. But there's one area we are yet to touch on. It is our international relations and obligation. I think that is one area that we probably might have missed because of a number of issues. I am looking forward that in our international obligation to restore regional peace and security, we have made a lot of strides in terms of presidents being diplomatic and diplomat number one to try to solve the issues in South Sudan. And I think that's been a problem because right now in fact, we are hosting that talk here, right? So in that sense, I think when we begin to talk about those issues, our international obligation, what is our mission in Haiti? What have they achieved so far? What is our state of international obligation in terms of policy? How are we going to relate to Donald Trump?
Do we have hope? Yes,
there is a lot of hope in this country.
So, Sion, do we have hope?
I think asking me a question after allowing my fellow panelists to throw several parages left, right, and center on government.
You're not government.
One question.
You're not government.
I'm not government, but I'm part of Kenya Kwanza.
I supported
administration. That's a fact. I'm part of Kenya Kwanza political formation. That is a fact. And I don't need to swear by the Bible to prove it, because I'm part of that political arrangement. And the issues being raised, we are a democratic country, and governance is for the good of everyone.
Yes.
It is not part and private property of given segments of the population. And that is why the president has to give a State of the Nation address to account. It's an accounting forum. The president will be accounting.
I'm talking about solutions. I'm talking about solution.
The questions being raised here, because I'm speaking, the president will be giving the report based on the various, of course, we've talked of security of the country.
Yeah.
They've questioned quite a number of issues on security. It will be contained in that report. And the president is very keen to see that the country is stable and secure, and the bishops, Catholic bishops' report acknowledge that, of course, indeed.
Allow me to ask you a question before you continue,
country is
sir.
secure.
Just on that note, based on what the DJ has talked about and Daniel and Dr. have talked about, do you think things are okay? Now that you've said you're part of the Kenya Kwanza administration, to be honest.
No, I'm not part. I'm part of Kenya Kwanza formation. That's a fact.
Very good. So you must be privy to some
And asking me a symbol, you've asked me a question, allow me to explain.
Go ahead.
And I start from even the element of corruption. When you talk of the government is not fighting corruption,
in 2 minutes.
I don't think it is right. Don't limit me to 2 minutes.
No, because
I'm summarizing.
I think you should give him
The president,
all right.
no, be fair, otherwise let me not come to the show. Yeah, be serious. I don't come for photographic entertainment. So that then, when the ministers were signing performance contracting, part of it is efficiency and weeding out corruption. Kenya Kwanza administration and the president said 3 things even at some point, that if you want to engage in corruption, leave the country, go to prison or go to heaven. That's a serious message. We are not going to run a country that is riddled by institutional management and undermining by poor governance. The president is clear. That is why they were signing of performance contracts yesterday. And we've seen today there is advertisement of PSS. That is further reorganization. The president is extremely serious in shaping the country. Whether things have improved, it's a fact for sure. Statisticians, when you talk of inflation being brought down from 9% from the previous regime to 6 point something to now 2.7, those are clear indicators, very scientific. And even those who are negative and will want to be negative forever, this is a fact.
Okay.
The country is improving in many aspects. Look at the performance in the agricultural sector. Food production, the cost of living, it has come down. When we talk about sugar, for the first time in Kenya, we are not importing sugar because of the performance in the sugar industry through the affordable fertilizer. So generally, there are many things, situations are improving. We need to unite as a country and focus on what matters and concentrate on transformation of the country.
Doctor, in 1 minute.
Thank you. I would say this, Victor, that we are all interested to have our country change in the positive direction. Nobody doesn't want our country to change. Leave alone out the politics and the political formations that Susion is talking about. We want a Kenya that we'll be proud of, where all of us, and even our children and grandchildren, will be happy to live in, providing quality education, transformative education, and all this. Internationally, you mentioned about international relations. That's some of what I teach also. Kenya has been known over time as a non-aligned country, and we are part of the non-aligned movement, which has, I think, over 100 countries across the world. We must live to that faith. I can give just one or two examples that we have moved away.
Please.
Yes, we have moved away from our non-alignment and aligned position. For example, when we had Israel, the Hamas attacking Israel, and Israel in return flattening and killing Gazans as we speak today. And we issued a statement that was not in tandem with our non-aligned position. We talk about one China policy. Again, we're entering into superpower politics, which again gives us a disadvantage in the international system. What I would say, as the president addresses this also, we expect that he will dwell on foreign policy, a foreign policy that actually works in the interests of Kenyans, not in the interests of other countries.
Victor, just 2 seconds. 2 seconds. One, President, tomorrow, please let us know the status of NADICO report. It was very important. Number two, we have people who are not represented. We want to know the status of IEBC. Thank you.
When you hear that, it means time is up. Thank you so much for joining us. Deputy Governor of Machakos County, Francis Mwangangi, Daniel Orogu is a political and governance commentator, Dr. Richard Busiru, who is lecturer of political science, the University of Nairobi. The University of Nairobi. And Wilson Sosion, Honorable, former NASEC Gen and Member of Parliament. Gentlemen, asanteni sana for coming to the show. GMK takes a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.